WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, it's cold and rainy in Portrush, Northern Ireland. Doesn't matter to the crowd. The crowd at the Open Championship, 279,000 people in cold, windy, rainy. Crazy. 279,000. They actually had 1 million ticket requests. 1 million. 279,000 showed up. My goodness, it is a very foreign leaderboard when you look at it. You've got at the top, and let me double check to get the latest of the leaderboard. You have got Hao Long Tai. He's from China. He's at 4 under, and he's done for the day. So is Matt Fitzpatrick. You know that he's from Denmark. I'm sorry, he's from England. What am I talking about? Then you have a guy named Jacob Olsen. He's from Denmark. He's 4 under. You have Matthew Jordan from England. He's 3 under. You've got Lee Westwood from England. He's 2 under. Nicholas Højgaard, 2 under. Oh, here's Bezadenhout. He's 3 under. He's from South Africa. There's only one American amongst the leaders tied for 4th. That's Scotty Scheffler. He got in at 3 under. And I got to tell you, Scotty Scheffler did not have his A game today. He was all over the place. That is a well-earned 3 under, which makes you think he's got a chance. You've got a Japanese guy, Kawamoto. He is 2 under. Here's another guy. He's from Thailand. You've never heard of before. Saddam Kekwanjana, Thailand. He is through 14 at 2 under. Sergio Garcia, of course, we know from Spain and Live, 2 under. Hidalgo, also from Spain, 2 under. Maverick McNeely, 2 under through 6. So there's another American in there. It's just, as you would expect, the Open Championship. Europeans know how to play the wind and the weather and links courses, and they are atop the leaderboard. It was a bad start at his home course again, where at 16 he set the course record with a 61. Hey, not so fast, my friend. We'll get into, by the way, in our second segment today, no Ron Higgins. Elijah Seegers and I are going to talk the ESPYs from last night. But Rory McIlroy bogeyed the first hole. I'm looking to see if he's still there because he may have bogeyed the second. You know, when he played there in the last time they played Portrush on the first hole, he shot an 8. Today it was a 5. DeChambeau's 2 over through 4. I'm looking. Boy, this could be worse. I don't know where. Where is... Where did Rory McIlroy go? Can you see that real quick, Elijah Seegers? Did I miss him at 1 over? Man, bad day for the guy that most people betting favorite by far, that he would win another major this year, and it would be this, and that would probably make him player of the year, unless Scotty can.
Rory's at even par through 3.
Oh, wow. So he birdied a hole. Okay. I don't know why he was mad then, but we'll keep our eye on that. There is all kinds of news about the U of M. Positive side, Ed Scott got a new deal, got a $50,000 raise to $600,000. He can make $200,000 extra in bonuses. So that's $800,000 on paper that he can make. Oh, and if he gets into a Power 4 conference, they have a different word for it. But if it's a power conference, he gets a $250,000 bonus. If it's a different conference that raises the revenue of the university 25%, he gets a $50,000 bonus. The good news is this guy is a leader. This guy's smart. This guy has already made a bunch of moves, and the university realized it, signed him to this new deal, extended him. And here's where I'm a little unsure, and we may talk about this with Jason Munz tomorrow, but it looks as if there is a penalty by the university before he got here, which would be the case of Malcolm Dandridge, I'll get to that in a second, then he gets extended 2 years. So I don't know if that means he's going through 31 because of this probation increase of 2 years or not. But we'll double check that. But Dr. Scott, obviously, Bill Hargrave, the university board, they've all said to themselves, "This is our guy. We gotta wrap him up," and they did so today. That story breaking from Jason Munz at the Commercial Appeal. The Malcolm Dandridge story, if you haven't heard, the university turned themselves in on this. I'll get to that in a second. Malcolm Dandridge, although he's not named, neither are the softball players, but Malcolm Dandridge was forced to sit down and missed his last, I think it was 4 basketball games in a Memphis uniform because allegedly he had 2 softball players. He didn't do this. This was arranged, in my estimation. 2 softball players basically did work for him and took a test for him. It caused the advisor that he has, the academic woman, Leslie Brooks, her job. She was fired and, by the way, given a 10-year show cause. 10 years. Which tells you, because in the report, Penny Hardaway is absolved of any involvement. A lot of people thought maybe Stephanie Van Brakel-Prothro, who was the softball coach, could have been involved. She was not involved either. She's the one that turned him in. She heard on a bus the girls talking. She turned them in. She's now the pitching coach at Florida. So that wasn't it. I think this was all the advisor. Here's the stupidest thing about the whole deal. I don't know if people realize this, but Malcolm Dandridge was already a graduate. He wasn't even taking graduate courses. This was continuing education. This was intro to theater. He didn't even need to pass it. He'd already graduated. He was taking the class so he could play basketball. My goodness, this is so unnecessary, and it costs $30,000 and 1/10 of the softball and basketball budgets. I'm guessing when I say this, I'm going to say that's combined $8 million, so that's $80,000. So this is $110,000 at least fine on the university, plus 2 more years of probation, because a guy who didn't even need to pass a course cheated. And I honestly, because of the show cause and no involvement with the coaches, and I will tell you, Malcolm was very surly about this, as if he was fairly innocent. Maybe it's good acting. I don't know. He was a bit of an Eddie Haskell kind of a guy. But I think this is really pretty much on Leslie Brooks. That's the sense I get from all of that. As I sit in the Family Leisure Studios, they are clearing that warehouse out, all in-stock patio furniture, 60% off, and they got to move it. That's why it's 60% off. They got the fall stuff coming in, and you know they only have the best. State-of-the-art, the newest fabrics, the newest designs. It's always the best of stuff. So they gotta move the stuff, and they're doing it with a 4-piece deep seating set, only $999. That's less than $1,000. If you buy a chaise lounge, you always are going to buy more than one. You get the second one half off. All Polywood furniture, 20 to 30% off. If you buy a patio table, you get a free umbrella. Those aren't cheap. Special financing available. It's happening now. It's called Help Us Clear Our Warehouse Sale. It's going on at I-40 and Wooden Road at family leisure. So there's lots going on today already, just as our friend Pete Pranica is probably waking up in Sin City in Las Vegas. Good morning, Pete. How are you?
Good morning. I am fine, Wolo. How are you?
I'm good. You watching any of the British Open? Because I know you you love golf like I love golf.
I've been totally enamored with Summer League, so I have not.
And Summer League is really pretty interesting. When Cooper Flagg played Bronny James, I heard a courtside ticket was $3,000. Somebody or some folks paid that much money. I heard Jason Kidd on TV. It might have been NBA TV. It was ESPN. And he was saying, when I played in the Summer League, people came for free. It was nothing. Now it's $3,000 for a courtside seat. It's got to be a lot different than when you first started going to Summer League.
Yeah, there would be a Summer League in Long Beach, which was basically in a practice facility. There was one up in Boston, in Shaw's Summer Pro League, and then there was a Rocky Mountain Review in Salt Lake City. So they were really not associated. I never had gone to any of those. I'd only been coming to Vegas, but to see it grow the way that it has, it's absolutely amazing. And Warren Legary and Albert Hall have done an incredible job. And even, middle of the week afternoons, buildings have very sizable crowds. Now, that's going to diminish a little bit as we get into the consolation rounds where you've got, teams that are sitting everybody and they're just trying to get out of here. But yeah, it's amazing. Still, though, Wolo, I think to just walk in the building, and there are usually 7 or 8 games a day. It's like $65 and open seating.
Wow.
There are some reserved seats at a higher price point. But I always tell everybody, if you love the NBA, just even if you go for a day, it's not a major investment of cash to go and see the stars of tomorrow and hang out in Vegas. If you can deal with the heat, you're good.
So you think it's worth $65? I know you get to see a bunch of games, and you are seeing, I don't know what percentage of the rosters are going to end up really being NBA guys, not even two-way guys. I'm talking about NBA guys. But you think that experience is worth it at least one time?
And to see because everybody's here. Tom Izzo was here yesterday watching his guys.
Right.
So you're going to see every general manager. You're going to see the coaches. You might see some owners. So, yeah, it's great people watching and to kind of rub shoulders. And I work games with Isaiah Thomas, and I can't tell you how many times we had to stop for pictures because people wanted their picture with Isaiah. So, yeah, I mean, it's you get to see – I saw Dale Davis, who was with Portland when I was there back in the day. So, yeah, you get to see a lot of people. It's just cool for a very, very, compared to a regular season NBA ticket.
I must confess, I haven't had the chance to listen to you and Isaiah yet. I think you've still got a couple more games. Are those broadcasts different? You've got such a rapport and camaraderie with Brevin Knight, and I know you've worked with other guys along the way, but what's it like with Isaiah?
I've worked with Isaiah a number of times. You just rely on his knowledge. And these games, you're right, they're different. Typically, we have in-game interviews. We had Byron Spruell, President of League Operations, on yesterday to talk about the state of the game. We had Jamal Mosley on with the Orlando Magic, Tim Connolly of the Timberwolves. So, that takes up some of the play-by-play. What we do probably is more storytelling and talking about the teams and what they need and what will help them and things like that. But, it was great yesterday because we had a New Orleans game. So we could talk about Joe Dumars, now moving from the league office to be an executive with the Pelicans. And obviously they were championship teammates. And so, the game is the game and you have to follow it. But you just try to draw on, Isaiah. I think people forget when NBC had the NBA back in the day, Isaiah was on the broadcast crew that called the finals. And so here's a guy who's won a championship. He's broadcast the finals. He's been a coach. He's been an executive. He's a Hall of Famer. So I do my best to try to tap into his knowledge, and that's a lot of fun. I know people have a perception of him as not being a very nice guy. Isaiah could not be better to me or to the other people on the crew or the fans. I really enjoy working with Isaiah.
Did he work with Marv Albert then with NBC? Because I really don't remember that. I remember Doug Collins was the best. I loved him. I remember Mike Fratello with Albert. I remember the telestrator czar.
I think we forget that Bob Costas used to call the finals for NBC.
Oh, that's true. He did.
And So anyway, I love working with Isaiah. He's actually gone home now, and I will work a couple of games on the afternoon of the 19th with Darren Collison, whom I've not met, and he's starting his broadcasting journey. So that'll be an interesting experience, but it'll be fun.
All right. I have to ask you about some of the Grizz players. What you think so far? There was a story just written by Drew Hill from the Daily Memphian regarding a discussion with Rick Barnes about just how good Meshack may be. I'm curious. He can say what he wants. He did not let Meshack shoot a whole lot when he was coaching him, but he let him be out there. And I think he had a comparison with Tony Allen. Where do you put Meshack in all of this?
I just love his competitive spirit. I mean, you see guys come out here, and you immediately, the eye test tells you, okay, I think this guy can play in our league because he plays with energy, plays with passion, plays with purpose. And, Meshack, and we saw that in the Golden State game, I thought was a difference maker. So there's going to be an opportunity because the two-way spots, that's pretty much wide open. I mean, Zion Pullen was a two-way last year. The other two-ways from last year aren't two-ways anymore. Yuki Kawamura is with the Chicago Bulls here in Summer League, and Cam Spencer's been signed to a full-time deal. So there are a couple spots open. If there isn't a spot on the main roster, I think Meshack is making a very, very strong case to earn a two-way contract with the Grizzlies.
And that he would get it over Pullen? And that seems to be the sentiment I'm hearing.
Based on what I've seen from those two guys here in the two summer leagues, that's the way that I would be leaning. And of course, the Grizzlies have their final preliminary game today against Atlanta.
You mentioned Spencer, who got a 4-year deal, which I was surprised he got that many years. I know the team's got the option on the 4th year, but I've always liked the guy. I know he's been injured. I do think he is a roster player. Give me your sense of him.
Well, he's the ultimate gamer. You never have to worry about his care factor, about his passion, about his work ethic. And he gives you another option as a shooter, part-time ball handler. Not necessarily doesn't need to be the initiator of offense, but he's a guy who's going to give you maximum effort every single time. And he brings you the energy of an Alex Caruso, but he has a much bigger offensive game. How's that?
Well, if he can contribute like Caruso, that would go a long way. What did you learn about Wells in Summer League? What did you learn about G.G. Jackson?
G.G. Jackson, the talent is amazing, and I think he's not reached his ceiling yet. He's still only 20 years old. Needs to be more consistent. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for him, is to be consistent night in and night out. That's job number one for him. As far as Jalen Wells, different experience for him because during the NBA regular season, he's one of the guys. Here in Summer League, he's at the top of the other team's scouting report. And so the shot has been a little bit of a struggle, but I think it's been a good experience for him in that now he knows what it's like to be the marked man for the opposition. But super mature. I like the fact that he's mentoring G.G. Jackson. I think that's a real good combination. You forget, even though Gigi's going into his 3rd year and Jalen's going into his 2nd, Jalen is a few years older. So, Jalen shot, and even last year during the regular season, it was a little bit erratic at times, and it just needs to be more consistent. But you're looking at a kid who's coming back from a wrist injury, and I think has shown well.
Let's talk about the center position. Since we last spoke, There's a two-way guy they signed who started the last game, and the move that was made with Huff going, and you brought in a more traditional center to be the backup to Zach Edey. Do you feel like that's pretty secure? Or do you think there's more moves that Zach Kleiman might make before the summer is over?
No, I think they're pretty much set. Will Magnay is the big you're referring to out of Australia. And with the two ways, given the situation you've had with some injuries with bigs, my sense of it is that the Grizzlies, with their 3 two-ways, there will be a big as a two-way. There has to be. Whether that's Magnay or whether that's Armando Bacot. Bacot had, we think would be kind of the incumbent. He's had a good game or two, and then he's had games where he's really struggled. So that two-way spot for a big, I think, comes down to Magnay and Bacot. As far as Jock Lawndale, I think that was simply a situation where he is going to fit the pick-and-roll system, if that's what Tomas Isilo is going to go with. And Landale's more of, no, he's not a Zach Edey, but he's built in that mode, whereas Jay Huff is more of a stretch 5. He's a good screener, but he doesn't have the physical presence maybe of Lawndale, and so that's why you basically swap styles, which is a little bit of a tell about maybe the way how the Grizzlies want to play basketball on the offensive end next year.
And they re-signed Santi to a good contract, I thought, and Aldama can play 5 in a small ball set, correct?
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty well set. We'll have to wait and see if Zach is going to keep the cards the way they are. All right, last thing. Adam Silver, as he always does an address during Summer League. He sort of addressed expansion, although to me it was like he was tabling expansion, even though he said the process is now beginning. What was your take on Adam Silver's expansion discussion?
Well, the scuttlebutt had basically been, once the new TV deals are in place, okay, now we have economic certainty for what we're going to get over the next 10, 11 years. So now we can go ahead and expand. Well, the issue is, and remember, Adam Silver works for the governors, and the governors are saying, hey, wait a second. We got this big pot of money. We'd rather split it up 30 ways instead of 32. And there's some reporting that James Dolan of the Knicks is leading the charge, going like, hey, we don't want to give away this money to 2 additional franchises. So what Adam Silver said, they're going to have a committee look at what the economic impact would be of adding 2 teams, because now all the television money, all the revenue sharing is, you got 2 more teams that you've got to fund, right? Now weigh that against the fact that there's going to be an expansion fee to buy into the league, and that expansion fee will be shared among the 30 existing teams. So right now it's all about economic impact.
Right.
It's going to happen at some point. It's just not as quickly as I think the people in Seattle and Las Vegas would like it to happen, assuming those are the markets.
Yeah. What is also interesting to me is the Lakers just sold 80%, right? Jeannie Buss and family retained 20%. They sold it for $10 billion. I want to say Mark Cuban sold the Mavs, and again, it was like 75 or 80%, maybe more. But he retained some of the percentage. He sold it, I want to say, for $6 billion. So let's just say Vegas and Seattle were the expansion teams. Would that be a $6 billion per team price that the 30 owners would split up, $12 billion?
Minimum. I mean, when you think of Seattle, when you think of the tech money up there and how badly that market wants basketball back, I think it could be even higher. I mean, the valuation of franchises is really has exploded, and that's part of the reason why I think Adam Silver is putting this committee together. Okay, let's actually work at some numbers and figure out what we're dealing with, so that you can go back to the Board of Governors and say, okay, look, this is what numerically we're looking at going forward. Because right now it is kind of squishy, what the numbers would be. And if you're an NBA governor, you want to know, hey, I'm a billionaire. I want to know how many more millions I'm going to get out of this.
Right. Well, and the other thing that we don't know, and I certainly don't, is in these TV contracts that they have signed and squared away all this money, where probably Victor Wembanyama will be the first $100 million a year player when he's in the middle of his prime. But we don't know if there aren't provisions that say, all right, you're paying us based on 30 teams. Here's what you'll pay if we go to 32. We don't even know if there's language like that in there, do we?
No, I have no idea. And I don't know that they would even put that number in there because, again, Adam Silver, this TV deal is going to run for a decade, right?
Right.
Adam Silver's talking about also potentially expanding into Mexico City, talking about Europe. So I don't know that they would have done language that would have said, well, 32 teams or whatever number of teams. I think the number is the number, and however the league expands, it's going to dilute the television money, and I think that's what's concerning the Governors right now is how much are we going to dilute this wonderful windfall that we're getting from NBC and Amazon and ESPN Disney.
Last night, SGA was voted the best male athlete of the year. He did it over guys like Saquon Barkley, I think, was in there. Alexander Ovechkin was in there, who did get the best record of accomplishment. Would you have voted SGA if you were part of the ESPYs as the best male athlete this year in all of sport?
Wow. Obviously, I have an NBA bias. I can't argue with it. Although Saquon Barkley was absolutely fantastic this year, but when you think of the 82 game grind and the fact that SGA doesn't load manage, he doesn't take games off, he doesn't rest, by and large, to me, I tip my cap for being a leader, leading a team that was historically great in terms of some of their statistical metrics, and the fact that he was available pretty much every single night. And people, Oklahoma City's a worthy champion. Well, they had to win 2 Game 7s, against Denver and Indiana. So I can't argue with that.
All right, he is the TV voice of the Grizzlies, Pete Pranica, in Vegas. Listen to him. You got 2 more games? Where NBA TV? When? So we can look.
I got to pull my file folder. It's going to be the last 2 games actually on the 19th on NBA TV with Darren Collison. So it'll be early evening in Memphis.
All right. We'll be watching. Thank you, my friend. As always, I appreciate it. We'll talk next Thursday.
Sounds good.
That is Pete Pranica, live from Las Vegas, and he's brought to you by Shell Dunn. What does a name really mean sometimes? When does a name mean what you do? Sheldon Rosengarten, Mark Spensdorf, Realtors. He knows just how much good service can make the difference in a successful business and how your name can say that. For example, Federal Express, FedEx, means quick overnight delivery. And David Jones's Germantown Auto Service, according to Sheldon, means exactly that. Service. You can be assured you're going to get the best service around. And don't forget MemphisRelocate.com. That's Sheldon's website. And he can also assure you that he provides some of the best and most reliable service when you're selling your home as the number one of satisfied people, the clients. They are always happy. The best, most reliable service when you're selling your home. He is your guy. That's why people often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon. You can reach him at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. MemphisRelocate.com. That's all you need to know. Or 483-0546. Let Sheldon show you what good service means. Back in a minute, we'll review the ESPYs. The comedian that hosted the show, I had some questionable stuff, but I kind of liked him, to be honest. And then we'll go over the many of the awards. A couple of surprises. We'll get into that. Elijah Seegers and I are going to kick this thing around when we come back to Wolo and Friends.
My Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Ribs.
Toes. Well, what are we playing?
I want to do a Central Barbecue spot about their fantastic ribs.
Should be easy enough. Central Barbecue has got amazing ribs.
I know that. You know that. The people probably know that. But I want to do them justice.
Well, they're slow smoked for 24 hours over hickory and pecan to give them amazing flavor.
And Central Barbecue never has sauce in the pit.
Now, I don't know what that means, but it seems impressive.
It is. I just want to make them sound perfect.
We mentioned that they're slow smoked, delicious, and we've said Central Barbecue at least 3 times. I say we call it a solid 30 seconds.
Job well done. Central Barbecue. Ribs.
Not toes.
The very last thing anyone wants is to burden their family after passing. That's why having a trust or a will is essential. It ensures your loved ones, your spouse, children, or anyone you care about clearly understand your wishes and don't have to deal with confusion, drama, or legal hassles while grieving. Without a will, your assets could be distributed in ways you never intended. People you care about could be left out completely. Also, probate can be a long, complicated, expensive process. And it's avoidable if you have a simple trust in place. A trust or a will sets a clear plan for how you want your estate handled. They're simple, affordable, give you peace of mind. I have a simple revocable trust, and knowing my family won't have to go through probate brings real comfort. Trustandwill.com. They make it easy. They're the leaders in creating personalized trusts and wills to protect your legacy and loved ones. Do the right thing. Protect your family. Visit trustandwill.com today for total peace of mind.
It's time for SEC Media Days. Join Brett Norsworthy as he broadcasts live from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming SEC football season and bringing you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC leaders. Tune into Sports Time with Stats and Bryant Dacus from 3 to 6, and also hear from Stats throughout the day for SEC Media Days coverage brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville, Ronnie Grazzani's, All-Star Chevrolet, Sissy's Log Cabin, and Jimmy McElroy and Associates.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Meant to mention a little earlier, Phil Mickelson, when conditions were at their worst in Northern Ireland and Portrush, he shot 1 under today. That's quite surprising. Jordan Spieth, by the way, 2 over through 4 holes. Some are struggling. The leaders, if you don't know, and some you've never heard of, like, I promise you, Hao Long Ti, gentleman from China. You ever heard of him, Elijah Seegers?
I never have.
Neither have I. 4 under. You've heard of Matthew Fitzpatrick. Have you ever heard of Jacob Olsen from Denmark?
I never have.
Neither have I. 4 under. Aaron Rye, you've heard of. He's 4 under. Scheffler, lead American, tied for 5th at 3 under with Matthew Jordan. And then you have a young man from Taiwan whose name is Saddam, and I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but it's Kekonjana, I believe. It's spelled Kaewkanjana. He's 3 under. The South African Christian Bezuidenhout, he's 3 under. So is Harris English. He's 3 under through 4. Holy smokes. Let me see how he did this. He went birdie, birdie, par, birdie. Wow. Harris English, 3 under through 4 holes. The conditions are going to be a little bit more benign for the afternoon. Lucas Glover is 3 under through 3. Lee Westwood 2 under in the clubhouse. So is Nicholas Højgaard, another man from Denmark, 2 under. Sergio Garcia, 12 holes played, 2 under. Hidalgo's 2 under. Both of them, of course, from Spain. Poston's 2 under. Tyrell Hatton is 2 under. Maverick McNeely 2 under through 6. John Rahm and Shane Lowry both 1 under, as is Sam Burns. They are in the clubhouse. So last night, a comedian named Shane Gillis was the host. I love his timing. I love his delivery. Man, he can be pretty cutting. Some off-color stuff, some not sure. Diana Taurasi mispronounced her name, I think on purpose. Had some pretty, I don't know if it's raunchy, but maybe classless jokes. But nonetheless, have you ever heard of him before?
I have. He's been on Saturday Night Live a few months ago.
I know you didn't see the whole thing. You saw clips. Your sense of him, what kind of reviews he's getting?
I've seen mixed. Some people thought that he was funny. Some people, jokes didn't land very well. I thought that, he was kind of hit or miss throughout the night, but it definitely made for talking points for us today. So he's got that going for him.
Yeah, he does. Well, that's part of it, and people are talking about him. That's the most important thing to ABC, ESPN, talking about it, and we are. I mean, they only do this once a year. There's no other real sports on except for Summer League or a rehash of the day from SEC Media Days with Paul Feinbaum. So I'm pretty well locked into this. The best moment for me, they brought out Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, and Pat McAfee to honor Lee Corso. And that was nice. They went through a bunch of all the stuff. The guy's been doing it for, I think he said 38 years, maybe, something like that. 38 years. He thanked ESPN for that. He thanked his wife for 69 years of marriage, which was pretty touching. At the end of the night, they brought out the USC band, and they gave him the USC headgear to put on, which he did, and he played along. And then he went to, put up the sign with 2 fingers, and they were bent over. And to me, this was so symbolic because I really believe Kirk Herbstreit genuinely has this sort of son-father kind of relationship with Herbstreit. He's protective of him. He's always been that way. And when Corso tried to put the 2 fingers up in a victory, he couldn't. They were bent. He actually went over, and the camera caught this. And I don't think this was scripted by any means. He straightened up his fingers for him. To me, that was symbolic of the whole relationship. And I wonder if that isn't a part, because people like Lee Corso, if that wasn't a part of why they like Kirk Herbstreit so much. Anyway, to me, that was symbolic of their relationship. I really enjoyed that moment. I enjoyed when they honored the Los Angeles Fire Department. They brought up 2 former athletes, one an Olympic swimmer who swam on the team with Michael Phelps and got medals, and the other was the goalie for Wake Forest. They honored those people with the Service Award, and that was outstanding. That was another one of the great moments. The best breakthrough player was rugby player Ilona Millar, I think is how you pronounce her name.
I think it's Maher.
Maher? It's spelled Milar. Whatever it is. She is one rambunctious, you can't help but like her. And she did have that great breakthrough year. She's a rugby player. I guess she played on the smaller ones, the 7s that they had in the Olympics, and she was fantastic. So she got that award. The best championship performance, I don't know that I agreed with this, but it was Simone Biles who won because she did come back from not competing, came back, and won 3 golds and a silver and helped the U.S. recapture the top team award. She won that over, this was called championship performance. She did it over Steph Curry at the Olympic Games. Now, they get the gold because of him. He was unbelievable the last 3-4 minutes. They got, she beat Freddie Freeman for what he did in the World Series. She beat Rory McIlroy for getting the career Grand Slam by winning at Augusta. Where would you have gone with that? I think I might have leaned to Curry for winning that gold. I'm not arguing because it was great, and I guess this is voted on by fans, so it's a process they go through. But that would not have been my vote. How would you have voted that?
Yeah, no, I understand the Simone Biles vote for sure, but I'm with you, Dave. I thought that Steph Curry, like you said, his performance in the semifinal and the final rounds of the Olympics were just like timeless. They were timeless moments. They were crucial to Team USA bringing home the gold. They're moments that I will never, ever forget, and I thought that they should have been rewarded accordingly. But shout out to Simone Biles. She definitely earned hers as well.
She was the best woman athlete as well. Jimmy V went to Katie Shoemaker-Cawley. She's a young lady who has battled cancer. While going through chemo and radiation, this lady would go 3 hours to a medical center in Philly. She lives in College Station, Penn State volleyball coach, where she, as a player, won a national title and went through all of that and coached them to a national championship. That was a beautiful moment. Best male SGA over Ovechkin, who did get the record, the best record performance, which he should have, but I don't know. I would have taken Ovechkin over SGA.
I would go SGA, being the scoring champion in the NBA, regular season MVP and finals MVP.
In the best season, Eagles, that was over the Dodgers, the World Series champs, Ohio State, the college football champs, and the Florida Panthers, two-time Stanley Cup champions. I would have gone Florida Panthers.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded that one either.
And those are the ESPYs. When we come back, we go downtown, standing by our own Hall of Famer. That's Jarvis Greer. Jarvo talks a whole bunch of stuff in just a minute right here on Wolo and Friends.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
When life crashes into you, literally, NST Law doesn't just show up with a briefcase. They show up with heart. They sit with families after devastating wrecks, look them in the eye, and say, "We've got you." No scripts, no legal jargon, just real people fighting for real justice. If someone turned your life upside down, NST helps you stand back up. They've been doing this for over 35 years and have won billions for their clients. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go to nstlaw.com.
All 650 acquisition fee, 20 cents per mile excess mileage must finance through KFA, K4's SEO 39747, MSRP 25840, Telluride SG 6733650, MSRP 41155, K5 MSRP 30415, EV9 TG 0066993, MSRP 59775, includes all rebates and incentives, excludes TTNL with approved credit, dealer stock only, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 8/2/25.
Got my man Jeff Allen on the line. Hey Jeff, things heating up over there on Mount Moriah?
We got the hottest deals in town at Gossett Kia South, Mount Moriah, Randy. Listen to this. Get a new ride for $185 per month in a 2025 Kia K4 EX 39 MPG Highway. 2025 Kia K5 GT line, $288 a month.
And the vacation-ready 2025 Kia Telluride S front-wheel drive, $325 a month.
Yep, all $49.99 due at signing, 24 monthly.
And rates at 1.9 available, plus 2026 EV9 Lite rear-wheel drive, $419 a month, plus the 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
That's right, Randy. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Oh, wow. Rory McIlroy just bombed one 45 feet uphill to birdie the fifth hole. So he's now one under after he started the day one over. So he's had bogey, 2 birdies, and a couple of pars. We'll keep our eye on that. Leaders at 4 under, all foreign. Scotty Scheffler in at 3 under par. Let's head downtown. Our good friend Jarvis Greer always ends our Thursdays. We got lots of news Tigers way, good and bad. Good. Ed Scott just signed a contract extension through 29. It might be 31 because of these probationary penalties that they Tigers have been given by the NCAA because of the Malcolm Dandridge case. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, what a way. Good. I'm doing good, Dave. It's good to hear from you. It's like, what a way to start your career at the U of M. You got to deal with, the NCAA, but he knew that coming in, and he had some experience that before at his previous stop, I think Morgan State, and dealing with the NCAA. And apparently, you get off with a fine and 1% of the budget from softball and basketball, men's basketball.
I'm guessing
and then you move forward, no sanctions.
And I'm guessing that's about 80,000. I would say those budgets maybe 8 million. I don't really know for sure, but I'm guessing in that neighborhood. So when you look at the 30,000 fine, this was a 6-figure fine, about $100,000, $110,000, whatever it might be, and it's so unnecessary because I said this before. People don't. Malcolm Dandridge was a graduate already. This was
he'd already graduated.
It wasn't even a graduate course. This was intro to theater. It was continuing education. My goodness. What a ridiculous thing.
Well, the biggest deal is you get no sanctions, you move forward.
Yeah.
Here we go. So that's the best thing about it. And you can put that to bed. Some people say, the NCAA is after Memphis. The NCAA is after Memphis. Well, it's really, you could say yes and no, because, you apply for waivers for kids to keep playing or young men to keep playing, and you don't get it, and then you get hit with, extra probation here and there, but, it's moving on, and it's put to bed, so let's move on.
I'm with you. I mean, your penalty is $100,000, around there. The probation doesn't have, unless you do something wrong again. And with Ed Scott in place, I don't think that will happen, honestly. I think his leadership, which, why they gave him this extension. He's the guy.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody that was involved in any of these things that have gone on they're all cleaned out, out of the athletic department and any of the players and any of that. So there you go.
I think it's fortunate, honestly, because it could have been a lot worse. You're under probation, and this occurred, but everybody else is gone. They acted quickly. It was Stephanie Van Brakel-Prothro that alerted the university, and the guys running it down. Maybe Jeff Crane was the person that was sort of steering it down. I'm not sure if Laird Veach was still around anyway. They reported it to the NCAA,
they all reported, and they immediately sat. Malcolm Dandridge, and everybody's saying, "Well, why don't you just play him? Why don't you know if you got some sort of thing going on and you find out about it and you keep playing him, then you're really in trouble." So when they found out, they sat him down, and so now the NCAA has finally, 2 years later, spoken. It takes them a while.
Let's go to Vegas Summer League, and your thoughts about this young Grizzlies squad that's 1-2.
Well, what I hate about it is that they hadn't been able to see all of the rookies. You only got one game out of Javon Small, the rookie point guard from West Virginia, and in his little sample size, he did well. He was 6 points or 4.6 assists, moved the ball around, and they played basically this whole summer action without a true point guard. They've got Cam Spencer running the point, and also Jemai Mashak has had to run the point here, the rookie. He was the last pick in the draft, and he looks like he's going to at least get a two-way, and he may get it, before they go to camp, because they said he is a defensive fiend, and that he has proven to be exactly that, and his shot isn't broken. I said, well, maybe if he doesn't shoot the ball, well, he shot it, and he shot the ball well. Of course, it's summer league, but at least he's taken some shots, and they've gone in so far, so that's been good to see, and I think he will get a two-way. I think they'll pull it from Zion Pullen. It is kind of alliterative, but he has not really shown anything in this summer league and to keep that two-way. And I really liked what I saw out of Gigi Jackson. And he's been more of a playmaker on the floor and doing more things other than just shooting the basketball. The shots always, he didn't shoot it that well in the last game, but he has shot well in previous games. He's averaging like over 20 points a game, but he's moving the ball around, and when he gets the ball, he's decisive. Plus, he's gotten some offensive rebounds, and like I said, he's passed the ball a lot more than he's ever done. So, that's the way you get on the floor. His defense, you can say it's still suspect a little bit. I don't know. It looks like he's at least trying, and he's still only 20. He won't turn 21 until December. So he's still one of the youngest. He is the youngest guy on the team and one of the youngest players in Summer League, and that includes all the rookies that they just this new rookie draft class. So there's a lot of upside with Gigi, and it looks like he's working on.
You think both Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams, who we both had a lot of promise for,
yes,
at the beginning of last year, and both sort of had injuries and bummer years, to be honest. You think they're both on the team next year?
This coming season, I do believe so. We'll have to see what Vince Williams looks like in camp. He hurt that leg, and then he got another injury on top of that, and he just did not look the same as he did his rookie season with Memphis. But if he could turn that thing around and play like he did, when everybody else was hurt, he was a defensive demon. He took on the other team's best player, and he also was a pretty good 3-and-D guy. He could hit that corner three. Then you might be looking at an Oklahoma City type situation between those two. You got guys with length. You got guys that can get after it. You got one that can score, and so that just builds depth for a team that's going to need it without Desmond Bain. Now they got a big haul to get him, but they did give up his scoring. So if they can find a way to replace that scoring, Ty Jerome coming in from Cleveland, that's a big help because they're basically the same size, 6'5", 6'6". They're both better than 40% shooters from three. And Ty Jerome's basically a dog, and that's what Zach Kleiman had talked about. We needed more dogs on this team, and he is just one of those guys that just gets stuff done, gets steals, even though he may lack a little athleticism, but he gets in the way. He gets some rebounds that you don't expect, and plus he'll shoot it. And that's one thing I like about him, and I also like about Cam Spencer. You don't have to worry about Cam Spencer shooting the ball. He's going to shoot it, and chances are it's going to go in. So I think that's positive.
You think Zach's done? 15-man roster set?
They still have one extra two-way if they take off Zion Pullen and give one to Jemai Meshack. They still have one extra two-way, and I think they'll try to get another big guy. I don't know if Baycott, the one that played with the hustle last year from Armando Baycott,
right,
that's been playing center in Summer League. I don't know if
the leading rebounder in the history of North Carolina.
Yeah, through 5 years he played with them, and they got a national championship with it. But they may be looking at him. I don't think so. I think they may be looking at some of the other talent in Summer League because that's where they found Jay Huff was off another team in Summer League and signed him to a two-way. And I like Jay Huff, and he actually lives on Mud Island down here, and he's just putting a gym in his home. But I think it's not that they didn't like him; they needed a different skill set at that position, and that's the reality of professional sports. But he's going to a really good situation where Indiana they just lost their big guy to free agency. And he plays the same kind of stretch four, so that's a good position for him. The Grizzlies need a banger, and I think they may look for another big banger, big-bodied guy to go to play down low on the two-way.
AAC Football Media Days next week in Charlotte, but this week SEC Media Days. Any of the stories that you heard turn you on, interest you?
I think it was a funny one. Who was it that came out to the wrong music? They played the wrong music for the wrong fight.
I think it was an Alabama player to an Auburn song or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of inexcusable. How do you do that? That's really crazy. And they were saying if Nick Saban had been there, he probably would have gotten up and left, taken his team and left. But I think this new staff, they just kind of laughed it off. But there are so many different quarterbacks now in the SEC. I think they really like the kid at LSU to be the top player. I think we'll see about what Tennessee does. Since they lost their quarterback to UCLA, But that's really all I can think of from the SEC. I mean, they're going to be good. They got a lot of teams. They got a lot of teams that are going to be really good. And I just hate this, whatever format they're talking about the college football playoff. It's just the Big Ten and the SEC trying to get as many schools in as they can, guaranteed, and leave only one spot maybe, for a group of 5 now, called group of 6, since the Pac-12 is out.
I think that will be saved, but you're right. And here's where there's a need, and I don't know if it's Nick Saban, I don't know who it would be, but there's a need for a commissioner that would actually look at the betterment of the sport for all.
Of the sport,
and
that
not
is correct.
Just the commissioners are paid by the presidents of their universities to work for their best interests. They're not looking for the best interests of college football. That's why you need somebody that doesn't work for a particular conference in charge of the darn game.
I totally agree, and somebody that'll look at the sport overall, not just concentrate on just those 2 conferences, because they don't even want the Big 12 and the ACC involved now, is what it looks like. And it's the same thing for the NCAA tournament, talking about expanding to 72 or whatever, and all they want to do is just get more 18 and 13 teams out of the Big Ten and the SEC. What, the SEC had 12 teams in last year? Or 8 of their 12. I don't know.
It was a
record number.
Yeah.
It was a record number. And I'm not going to say those teams weren't deserving, but doggone it, you got other teams out here going 23-6 with some good wins in their non-conference schedule, but they may not be, one of the big boys, one of the blue blood conferences, and they get shut out to an 18 and 13 team, So that's the main thing that scares me about this whole deal.
Well, if they did expand, which I don't think they should, honestly, but if they
I don't think they should either. I think they're at a good number now.
Yeah, if they did, I would certainly hope that some of the more mid-major schools get a part of that expansion as well. Jarvis, as always, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
All right, good to hear from you, Dave.
Thank you, buddy. That's Jarvo, our Hall of Famer. He's brought to you by Memphis Public Links. Yes. So easy. You go to memphispubliclinks.com and you can get a tee time. You can find out about championships, and we got the city championship coming up next week. These golf courses, by the way, are in such great shape. I'm serious. I don't know. Audubon's brand new, so it's in particularly good shape. Greens still have to hold a little bit better, but that's what happens with all new greens. Fox Meadows, unbelievable shape. Galloway, best shape I've ever seen it in, except for a couple of greens where there was some damage a couple of years ago. They're still working on that. Otherwise, unbelievable. It's such a great amenity to have great golf in your city. And Memphis and Mickey Barker and all those guys, they have done it. They have accomplished it. Memphis Public Golf, truly a great part of Memphis. We take a goodbye for now. We will see you tomorrow. We'll keep you updated on the British Open then, the Open Championship. Maybe Johnny will do the same thing. He's right around the corner. See you tomorrow.
Everybody, summertime fun and the best road trips begin right here at All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch. Zero interest on